We are happy that you've joined us this morning, and as always, Dr. Rogers has updates to share with Team BCPS, and following her updates, we will take your questions. So thank you again, and good morning, Dr. Rogers.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us for our November press conference. Welcome to the EDC. I am pleased to provide updates for Team BCPS. But before I begin, I want to welcome Chair Lichter, who has joined us after being out last evening at the board meeting. Yes, with us. So the first thing, we want to start with the 2025 Maryland Report Card. Yesterday, MSDE released the annual Maryland School Report Card, and it was great news across the board for Team BCPS. BCPS, for the second consecutive year, leads the state with the most five-star schools. BCPS has the highest percentage of five-star schools among all medium and large school systems in the state. 26 schools saw an increase in their overall star rating, and the number of one-star and two-star schools dropped. The overall 2025 BCPS star rating is 3.42, which is higher than the state rating of 3.35. Additional highlights of our system's performance over the past 2 years include the number of four-star schools in BCPS has increased by 82%. The number of five-star schools has increased by 21%. Over the last 2 years, 64 schools have improved their star rating. All student groups at the elementary and secondary level improved proficiency in both math and English language arts. Academic achievement in English language arts and mathematics improved for elementary and middle schools. Academic progress has improved at the elementary and middle levels, and school quality and student success has improved for all levels. We are encouraged by the growth of our schools and they have made on key markers of progress. I want to congratulate the 26 schools that have increased their star ratings and the 23 five-star schools. I want to thank our students and staff who have worked incredibly hard over the past 2 years. The achievements that we are celebrating are a direct result of their efforts across our schools and the leadership of Dr. Raquel Jones, our chief of schools. As we celebrate this good news, we will build on this momentum and work towards greater success for all of our schools. As a reminder, the FY27 operating budget process is underway. We invite all stakeholders to participate in this important process. We will kick off our community conversations on the operating budget series tomorrow, November 6th, at Vincent Farm Elementary School. Next week, we will be at Westchester Elementary on November 11th and Woodhome Elementary on November 13th. Additional opportunities for stakeholders to provide feedback and stay engaged throughout this process include Board of Education public hearings, area advisory council meetings on the budget, and an updated Budget 101 website that provides information and an overview of what's in the BCPS operating budget. Last month, I shared that this will be another difficult budget school cycle for our school system and other LEAs across the state, with the continued expansion and implementation of the blueprint and probable lower federal, state, and local revenue. For this reason, we will ensure that our communities understand the differences between the operating budget and the capital budget processes, know how our funding is spent and accounted for, and understand how different roles across Team BCPS directly impact the experiences of our students. And finally, BCPS remains committed to providing comprehensive resources and support to students and families impacted by the government shutdown and funding halt for the SNAP program. BCPS continues to serve breakfast and lunch at all of our schools free of charge every day. Snack and supper programs are also available in many schools to reach students that participate in after-school activities. Families can contact the school directly to learn about snack and supper programs or visit the BCPS website. We have additional resources for our community schools and students who experience homelessness. Students and families can continue to access support and services by connecting directly with counselors, social workers, pupil personnel workers at the school to identify school-specific resources. November 17th through 21 is American Education Week, a time where school systems across the nation will celebrate public education and honor the work of those who support students' academic and social emotional growth. BCPS has observed AEW for many years, providing opportunities for families, stakeholders, and members of the community to see learning in action and participate in engaging activities and celebrations. During the week, many schools will set aside specific times for parents and caregivers to visit their children's classrooms and or attend special events. We strive to embody the spirit of American Education Week each school day and making sure that our schools are even more inclusive and welcoming for our students, staff, families, and community members. Our schools will also develop additional year-round opportunities for family and community engagement to forge even more meaningful and frequent connections with our families. The PTA Council of Baltimore County is collaborating with the school system to present the Here For It Attendance Challenge for the week of November 17th through Sunday, November 30th. Students can participate by filling out a BCPS attendance pledge, have it signed by a parent or caregiver, and a teacher or principal, and sending a photo of the completed pledge along with their school name to the PTA Council. Participating students will be entered into a prize drawing, and PTA councils with the most pledges will be awarded mini grants. Year-round, we encourage our parents and caregivers to support their schools through their PTA organizations and by serving as volunteers. Community members are also welcome as volunteers, and businesses are encouraged to explore additional partnership opportunities. If we work together, we can continue to engage and empower our students to excel. With that, turn it back over to Ms. Onijala.
Another budget question. Last night's blueprint presentation, I believe, spoke about maybe funds that BCPS now has to be responsible for. I think reading coaches was mentioned. I was hoping you could explain or talk about that, and maybe some other, if they exist, areas where BCPS will have to absorb or be responsible for funding things.
Thank you. I'm not sure that reading coaches was named, but I do know that one of the areas that we spoke in depth about were the pieces under salaries. Our executive director for fiscal services, Mr. Tantliff, spoke about the national board certification that is part of the blueprint, and that is perhaps what you are thinking about, that allows $10,000 for anyone who's national board certified annually on top of their salary if they choose to work in a low performing school, a school deemed by the State Department. There's an additional $7,000 on top of that, and this year starts the certifications. So if you are recertified, that's an additional $8,000, and so you might have heard the $25,000 amount, and us speaking about what all of the school systems are speaking about, which is as you encourage more teachers to become nationally board certified and you add these funds, what's currently in the blueprint accounts for a third to a half of those additional dollars, so school systems will have to pick up that amount. And so as the numbers grow in the state of Maryland, I think we have about 2% or a little less than 2% of teachers across the state, and our data in BCPS is similar, who are nationally board certified. But as those numbers grow, the fiscal impact is going to grow as well. Another large area in the blueprint that we have raised concern about, not only in BCPS but across the state, is special education. Special education, we've shared this widely, is we did a survey across all 24 school districts, and we spend in the aggregate an additional $1 billion that is not a part of the blueprint, but it is required as there are federal mandates to meet the needs of students receiving special education services. Currently, there is a study happening in the state of Maryland, and I believe the results have been posted recently on special education. They identified a list of priorities, but in that study, it also details what attributes to some of the rising costs. And one of the slides that we showed yesterday was specific to areas that include rising costs and inflation across the state, and then we also shared what the data was for BCPS in particular from school year 19 to the last year that just passed.
Could you speak a little bit about the absenteeism piece of the report card data that just came out?
Yes, so we are still eagerly waiting our final data on chronic absenteeism from the state, but we have our own internal data. One of the pieces that is very important that we agree with the report card is chronic absenteeism is a part of that. And so the extent to which students are in school has an impact. As you know, this is the third year of us working centrally as well as at the school level focused on attendance. We think that is the highest leverage data point that we have because students need to be in school. So no matter what resources you have, no matter what differentiation, what type of curriculum, if you're not in school to receive that, it's not going to have an impact on them academically or social emotionally. The state is currently working on, and we have a representative from BCPS, this is year 2, on a new accountability system to address the star ratings. Currently, you don't see as much emphasis on growth. You have schools that are making progress, but if it's not a certain number, it's not going to count towards that report card. We have shared feedback along with our colleagues across the state that one way to continue to motivate schools and families and students to continue to push forward with academics is to be able to show the progress that they're making, that they're moving towards those goals, that they're improving on a regular basis.
What's your message to parents who may have children that attend the 26 schools that only got a 2-star rating?
So I think our message is that we are always looking at what is the current state of the school, where the school was, and what we need to do to improve. And so this is an opportunity for parents to continue to partner with us at those schools. I can assure you that those principals have specific school progress plans with specific data based on the needs of their students. They are working on implementation with central office. Part of it, as I just spoke to, is attendance. Chronic absenteeism is a deterrent. It has a detrimental impact on student progress. And so I would encourage parents to partner with the school. I would encourage parents to utilize those reports that we're sending out weekly. We're sending out weekly reports on the attendance of students as well as on the progress of students. And so if a student is missing an assignment or you see a grade that is not meeting expectation, there is an opportunity for parents to reach out directly to that school teacher, reach out to the team leader, to that administrator, and it is truly working together as a community that we're going to help to continue to do this work. In 2 short years, we've moved 64 schools forward. This is not where the numbers were 3 school years ago, and so our goal is to continue to move them forward, but we do that when we work together, focusing first and foremost on making sure that our students are in school in those seats. Oh, you're referring to this number? No, I was it's the same number down here. Okay. Yeah, 26 is 2 different numbers. Yes. Okay, you're referring to that one as opposed to this one. Okay.
I was referring to our article that we wrote on it. So
Okay.
yeah, but
No worries.
there's a discrepancy, my apologies.
No discrepancy. You are correct. There are 20 schools that still remain. There is one 1-star school out of 176, but we do have 26 schools that improved further this year. Yes. They just happen to be the same number. Yeah.
Across the incremental increases that we've seen on MCAP and the report card, what do you say to parents or people in the district who feel that the progress isn't fast enough? I mean, I know that there was a lot of academic decline, but can you speak to like the progress and how that's building?
Yes, I think you just said it. There was a lot of academic decline for more than a decade. When we talk about a school system in particular, and you don't want to, you want to make sure that you create the conditions for success that you're going to you're going to be able to sustain, not just for some students, but for all students, you have to follow a stepwise approach. The research is clear and our data is clear. You have to start with the curriculum, making sure that our students have access to high quality instructional materials, that our teaching is aligned to the state standards, and that we are implementing it, not just that we have purchased those materials. I think everyone knows by now, we are now in year 3 of teaching the science of reading in elementary school, and year 2 for secondary school. Prior to that, we were not teaching the science of reading. Our standards were not aligned with the newer standards in the state of Maryland, and so you saw that bear out in the test results. So that was step 1. We had a generous board that supported our efforts, our pilots, and for us to get those materials. Central offices and buildings, making sure that we're implementing the curriculum, that we're providing that professional development that we need to our teachers, to our paraprofessionals, to our leaders, really focusing on what high quality teaching is. And then the third part is to have those built-in structures in our buildings, as well as central office, where we're looking at our data in real time and we're making those real time changes. So for a group of teachers, that looks like, where is it that our student didn't meet the standard? What am I going to plan for next week's lesson so I can go and fill in those gaps? But for us at central office, and we look at the data as a team every 4 to 6 weeks, we're looking for trends across schools. We're looking for trends across school bands, across standards. And so we can go and supplement those materials for our students. And so you have to take care of the foundation before you can start to actualize significant growth. The science of implementation science says that it takes 3 years usually before you see the data start to move. We are encouraged that it's not taking us 3 years to see the data move. And I would also point to the first year where we saw smaller increments, less than a point in some areas, a point here and there. This year, if you go back and you look at that MCAP data, as well as some of the other data points, there are some pretty significant jumps. One that comes to mind is around economically disadvantaged students, which really cuts across several ethnicities and several service groups, where you're seeing upwards of 9, almost 10-point growth in those areas. When you look at MCAP, we had numbers of 3.5%, 4.5% when you're looking at literacy and mathematics in different areas. So not where we need to be, but definitely progress. But you have to put the foundation in place, not just for some kids, for all kids, and you have to do it the right way in earnest before you can see that those huge jumps. We're now at a place where our average is above the state average, and that's 2 years. And we're just going to continue to do that work in the right way, so that all students can benefit from it.
You mentioned science of reading and I believe high quality teaching. Are there any other things you can point to that you credit for the increases you've been seeing over the years?
So, I think the professional development that is really focused on, we call it pedagogy in our world, but it's really how to teach. For a long time, we talked about high quality teaching and learning, but everyone, for more than 10 years, everyone probably walked around with their definition of what high quality teaching and learning is. And so 2 years ago, we started the work with Research for Better Teaching, John Safir's Skillful Teacher book. We trained our leaders. We trained our teacher leaders for our comprehensive school improvement schools, targeted school improvement schools, as well as we brought in this summer for 4 days of training our assistant principals. So when we're talking about teaching, when we're talking about high expectations, what does clarity in a classroom look like? How do you maintain momentum? How do you write a clear objective for students? So we're seeing commonalities across schools, across classrooms. I think that has a great deal of impact on what we're seeing in the classes. I think we're now close to 40 in terms of the number of schools that we have visited personally for the school year, elementary, middle, high, and alternative schools. And I can tell you what I'm seeing in addition to no cell phones and students speaking to each other. I'm seeing high quality instruction. I'm seeing, if I go to 3 first grade classes, they're all working on the same objectives, approaching it in a different way, but I'm seeing our curriculum out there. I'm seeing students engage, and I think everyone is on the same page in terms of what we expect. And the more that we invest in our teachers, the more that we're able to bring them in for professional development and incorporate their feedback into the professional development that we're provided, we're going to see that impacting the students in the long term.
Thanksgiving themed question. Since I'm not going to see you later this month, what are you thankful for this year?
I am thankful for Team BCPS. Truly, this is a privilege to be a part of the system. I am thankful for having so many people who come in and day out, and it's not easy work, but they're dedicated to the mission of making sure that students are taken care of. Not just the academic part, which we are really focused on, but also the social emotional needs, providing safe spaces for students to be. And so I am grateful to have that opportunity. Thank you.